Dragon Masters: Saving the Sun Dragon by Tracy West. Illustrated by Graham Howells. Chapter 1: Dragons in the Sky. Drake shaded his eyes from the sun. He was standing in the Valley of Clouds behind King Roland's castle. Not long ago, Drake had never even been to the castle. But now he lived here, and he had an important job. He was a Dragon Master, someone who had been chosen by the Dragonstone to work with dragons. Above him, 3 dragons flew in the bright blue sky. Griffith, the wizard who taught the young Dragon Masters, watched as the dragons practiced flying. Vulcan, a big red fire dragon, flew across the valley. He shot a burst of fire into the air. "Nice one," yelled his Dragon Master, Rory. She had hair as red as Vulcan's flames. Shu, a beautiful blue water dragon, didn't have wings. She glided through the air, riding the wind. Bo, her Dragon Master, watched her with a peaceful smile on his face. The best flyer was the yellow and white sun dragon Khepri. She looped and swirled in the air. Then a rainbow streamed from her mouth. It arced across the sky. Khepri's Dragon Master, Anna, danced on the ground below her dragon. Her long black hair swayed behind her. Drake's dragon Worm was not like the other dragons. He was an earth dragon with a long brown body. He couldn't fly, but Drake had just learned Worm could move things with the power of his mind. What other amazing things can Worm do? Drake wondered. He knew he had even more to learn about his dragon. "It feels good to be outside, right, Worm?" Drake asked. The green dragon stone around Drake's neck tingled a bit. He smiled. Each of the Dragon Masters wore a piece of the stone. It helped them connect with and train their dragons. When the stone glowed, Drake knew that he and Worm had a very strong connection. Drake could sometimes hear Worm's voice inside his head when they were connecting, but the other Dragon Master's stone had not glowed yet. Drake looked back up at the sunny sky. Khepri's whole body shone with light. Then Drake understood. "Oh, I get it. Khepri has light powers because she's a sun dragon, right?" Drake asked the other Dragon Masters. Rory snorted. "Of course that's why. It's just like how fire dragons have fire power and water dragons have water powers." Rory can be friendly sometimes, thought Drake, and other times she's not friendly at all. His face turned red. "I'm still learning," he said. "I haven't been a Dragon Master as long as you." Rory, Bo, and Anna had already been training for weeks when Drake got to the castle. He still felt like he had a lot of catching up to do. Above them, Vulcan swooped down from the sky, showing off and shooting another stream of fire. It hit the ground right next to Griffith, and the grass burnt into flames. The wizard jumped to the side. "Careful there, Vulcan," Griffith called out. He pointed his finger at the fire. Water flowed from his fingertips, and the flames went out. Drake's eyes grew wide. "I'll never get tired of seeing wizard magic," he said to Bo, who was standing beside him. Bo nodded. Drake looked over at Worm. The dragon's eyes glowed bright green. "That's strange," thought Drake. "His eyes glow when he's using his powers. What could he be using his powers on right now?" Worm was staring up at the sky. Drake followed his gaze. Worm was looking at Khepri high up in the air. Her white wings had stopped flapping. Worm must have sensed that she was in trouble. "Watch out! Khepri is falling!" Drake yelled. Chapter 2: A Sick Dragon. Anna looked up and started to scream. The other Dragon Masters also looked to the sky. Griffith pointed a finger at Khepri. "I'll try to slow her down," the wizard cried. Lightning sizzled from his finger. But before Griffith could use his magic, a red blur shot across the sky. It was Vulcan, flying faster than Drake had ever seen him fly before. He lunged for Khepri and grabbed her with his front claws. "Go, Vulcan!" Rory cheered. Vulcan flew in a circle around the valley, slowing down. Then he gently placed Khepri in the grass. Everyone ran to Khepri. The dragon's eyes were closed. Her breathing was loud and heavy. Anna stroked Khepri's head. "Oh, Khepri, are you all right?" she asked, her voice shaking. Griffith leaned over Khepri, frowning. I'm afraid she doesn't look well, he said. Anna turned to the wizard. She has seemed a little off since last week when the tunnel caved in. She gets tired easily, and sometimes her eyes look cloudy. I should have said something. Griffith put a hand on her shoulder. It's not your fault, Anna, he said. But are you sure Khepri only started looking sick after that night in the tunnel? Anna slowly nodded her head. Yes, she was fine before then. Drake, Bo, and Rory looked at one another. A week before, they had all tried to sneak out of the castle with their dragons. Since King Roland wanted to keep the dragons a secret, most dragon training had to take place underground. The dragon masters had only wanted to get outside to do some night flying. Then a glowing red orb had flown into the tunnel that led to the valley. The red ball of light scared Vulcan, so he tried to get away. His huge body banged into the tunnel walls, and he had made the tunnel cave in. They were trapped. Worm used his mind powers to help them escape. He broke up the big rocks blocking the tunnel using only his thoughts. Worm had saved them all, but now something was wrong with Khepri. Why did you ask about the cave-in, Griffith? Asked Bo. The red orb worries me, Griffith answered. It must have been made by a dark wizard, as I had feared, and dark magic can make sun dragons sick. So Khepri's illness is connected to that weird ball? Asked Donna. And the other dragons are okay because they're not sun dragons? I think so, said Griffith. Do you know any dark wizards? Drake asked with a shiver. No time for tales now, said Griffith with a wave of his hand. Suddenly, Rory cried out, Look, Khepri's getting up. The dragon had opened her eyes and was standing on all four legs. She looks well enough to walk back to the dragon caves, Griffith said. Come along. He led the dragon masters and their dragons back through the tunnel. The tunnel led to the big underground dragon room. There, each dragon had a small cave. When they got there, a big man with red hair waited for them. He wore a vest with a gold dragon on it and a metal crown on his head. 2 guards stood behind him. Griffith stopped. King Roland, he said, what brings you down here? The king frowned. What is this I hear about a sick dragon? Chapter 3. King Roland's Threat. Drake looked over at his friend Bo. He could tell Bo was thinking the same thing he was. How did the king know one of the dragons was sick? I have spies hidden in the Valley of Clouds, the king said as if he had read their minds. You almost let these dragons escape once, Griffith. I wanted to make sure they are ready when I need them. I understand, Griffith said. Drake remembered that when the tunnel had caved in, Griffith hadn't told the king that the dragon masters had taken the dragons out. Instead, he said the dragons had tried to escape. Griffith had lied to protect the dragon masters. Griffith had only wanted to protect us when he told that lie, Drake thought. But now the king is mad at him instead of us. So I will ask you again, Griffith, said the king. Is one of the dragons sick? Yes, your majesty, said Griffith. There seems to be something wrong with Khepri. All eyes turned to Khepri. Her eyes were cloudy, and her long, graceful neck was drooping. First the dragons tried to escape, and now one is sick, said King Roland. This makes me very unhappy, wizard. You are supposed to know all about dragons. Heal her. I will look for a cure right away, Griffith promised. You had better find one soon, King Roland said, his eyes fixed on the wizard. If not, I will find another wizard. King Roland turned and stormed out of the caves. His guards followed. Drake's stomach did a flip. Another wizard? What would we do without Griffith? What do we do now? Anna asked Griffith, stroking Khepri's head. I have many books about dragons, the wizard replied. We will start there. We? You mean we can help? Drake asked. Of course, Griffith said. Please take your dragons into their caves. Then meet me in the training room. We must act quickly to save Khepri. Chapter 4. The Wizard's Potion. The Dragon Masters dropped off their dragons and headed to the training room. The section where Griffith taught lessons was kind of like a cave. Most days, everyone wanted to be outside in the Valley of Clouds. Drake loved it there because it reminded him of working in his family's onion field. But today, nobody was complaining about staying inside. Everyone wanted to help Khepri. When they walked into the classroom, they saw a giant pile of books on the table. "Everyone take a book," Griffith said, pointing to a stack of books. "A dark wizard made that orb, so we must find a cure for sun dragons who had been touched by dark magic. Quickly now." He was already flipping through all about sun dragons. Drake took Dragons 101 back to his desk. The room was quiet except for the sound of turning pages. Drake read and read, but couldn't find anything. No one could. Then Rory held up Dragon Lore. "I found something," she cried. "Listen. Each sun dragon is born with a moon dragon twin. These twins can cure each other of almost anything. Is this true? Does Khepri have a moon dragon twin?" Griffith frowned. "I do not know. And if she does have a twin, that twin is likely very far away from here. There is no way we could find the moon dragon in time." Anna stood up. "Well, my book has a potion in it called Wicked Away," she said. "It heals creatures harmed by dark magic." She brought the book to Griffith. His eyes lit up. "This might do it. It's not just for sun dragons, so I'm not sure if it'll work. But it's worth a try," he said. "Drake and Bo, go to my workshop. Bring back a jar of moonbeams and a sack of sunflower seeds. Hurry!" The boys raced into the hall to Griffith's workshop. The workshop was filled with bottles and jars. The bottles and jars were stuffed with strange plants and filled with potions. Drake walked to the left side of the room, and Bo took the right side. Drake picked up a jar with purple liquid inside. "Lily Dew," he read out loud. He checked a few more jars, and then saw something glowing on the top shelf. Standing on his toes, he grabbed it. A pale blue light shimmered inside the jar. Drake read the label. "Moonbeam, I got them," he shouted. "And I've got the seeds," Bo said. "Let's go." When they got back to the classroom, Rory was stirring liquid into a black metal pot. Anna was reading directions aloud from her book. Griffith clapped his hand when he saw the two boys. "That was fast. Now, let's make this healing potion," said Griffith. "Drake, empty the jar into the pot. Bo, add 3 seeds, please." Drake carefully opened the jar lid. The moonbeam slid out like water. Then Bo dropped in 3 black seeds. "Keep stirring, Rory," Griffith said. Rory stirred. The liquid turned blue and started to shine. A soft light came from the pot. Griffith scooped up some liquid with a ladle and put it in a clean jar. "Will this potion make Khepri feel better?" Bo asked. "There is only one way to find out," Griffith said. They all walked to Khepri's cave. Her eyes were closed and her yellow scales had lost their shine. Griffith handed the jar to Anna. "You are her dragon master. She will listen to you. She must drink this," he said. Anna nodded. She walked up to Khepri. "I have something for you," she said softly. Khepri opened her eyes. She smiled when she saw Anna. "We made it for you, to make you well again," Anna said, holding up the jar. Khepri opened her mouth. Anna slowly poured the potion inside. "This has got to work," she whispered.